Sister Wives star Janelle Brown thinks legal polygamy would actually turn men off. Hello friends. Welcome to the Daily Gossip News Update. I'm Olivia and I hope you're well by God's grace. Please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for more updates. Polygamy has always been a controversial and polarizing topic in American culture, and few families have brought it to the national spotlight. Quite like the Browns from TLC's Sister Wives, among the Brown family members, Janelle Brown has consistently stood out for her candid, no-nonsense approach to her multiple marriages, and her thoughtful reflections on what polygamy truly means in the modern world. Recently, she made headlines with a bold statement that has ignited conversation across social media and reality TV circles alike. Janelle believes that legalizing polygamy in the United States would, paradoxically, turn men off from the practice. At first glance, this might seem counterintuitive. After all, one of the primary assumptions about polygamy is that some men would be eager to legally marry multiple women if the law permitted it. Yet Janelle's perspective challenges conventional thinking, emphasizing that the romanticized idea of polygamy rarely aligns with the messy, complicated reality of shared family life, legal responsibilities, and emotional dynamics. For viewers and fans who have followed the Browns' journey over the past decade, her comments are both provocative and illuminating. They suggest a nuanced understanding of the very institution that brought her fame. Janelle Brown, from reality TV personality to polygamy commentator, fully appreciate Janelle's statement. It's important to understand her background and role within the Brown family. Janelle was the first of Kody Brown's wives, and her marriage marked the beginning of what would eventually become a four-wife family structure, under the spotlight of reality television. Over the years, Janelle has been known for her grounded, thoughtful approach to her marriages, often serving as a stabilizing force amid the drama that can arise in such a large, unconventional family. Unlike some of her co-wives, she has openly discussed her doubts, frustrations, and observations about polygamy, offering insights that are as much reflective as they are critical. In interviews and public statements, Janelle has never shied away from acknowledging that polygamy is not for everyone. She has frequently highlighted the emotional, financial, and logistical challenges that accompany multiple marriages. Her recent claim that legal polygamy would actually turn men off is rooted in her lived experience. According to Janelle, the reality of managing multiple marriages is far more demanding than many outsiders might assume. Legal recognition, she argues, would expose men to even more responsibilities and scrutiny, stripping away some of the informal flexibility that has historically allowed polygamy to persist in certain communities. Legal polygamy in the United States, a controversial debate currently. Polygamy is illegal throughout the United States, with laws generally prohibiting any person from marrying more than one spouse simultaneously. While there are exceptions and gray areas in certain religious or cultural contexts, the law is clear: only monogamous marriages are legally recognized. This legal framework has shaped public perceptions of polygamy, often framing it as a clandestine or fringe practice rather than a legitimate family structure. Janelle's assertion touches on the complex interplay between law, culture, and personal choice. By suggesting that legal polygamy might deter men rather than encourage them, she challenges the assumption that legality would automatically lead to widespread adoption. Her reasoning is multifaceted. Legal recognition would bring with it tax obligations, inheritance considerations, custody issues, and other legal responsibilities that could make polygamy far less appealing than its romanticized image in popular media. In essence, the law might force men to confront the real-world consequences of polygamy in ways that informal or religious arrangements have historically avoided. The emotional weight of multiple marriages. Another key aspect of Janelle's perspective is the emotional complexity inherent in polygamous relationships. Life as a polygamous spouse, whether male or female, requires navigating not just one partner's needs, but those of multiple spouses simultaneously. Janelle has openly discussed how maintaining harmony among co-wives can be exhausting and, at times, emotionally draining. She notes that even within the structured environment of a televised reality show, tensions, rivalries, and misunderstandings are inevitable. Legalization, Janelle argues, could exacerbate these pressures rather than alleviate them. When marriage is formalized and publicly recognized, the emotional stakes become higher. Divorce proceedings, legal disputes, and public scrutiny could intensify the challenges men face, making polygamy seem far less attractive than it might appear in theory. For many men, the fantasy of multiple wives might not survive the realities of shared household responsibilities, emotional labor, and potential legal entanglements. Public reaction to Janelle's comments. Janelle's statement has sparked a variety of reactions from fans, media outlets, and fellow reality TV personalities. Some viewers praised her honesty, noting that few public figures have dared to question the often glamorized perception of polygamy. Others were surprised, suggesting that legal recognition might, in fact, appeal to men who desire multiple partners. Social media platforms have been flooded with debates about the practicality of polygamy, the responsibilities it entails, and whether Janelle's observations reflect broader truths about human behavior. Importantly, Janelle's position is not anti-polygamy. Rather, it is pragmatic and realistic, rooted in experience rather than ideology. She acknowledges the benefits and joys of polygamy, including shared family responsibilities, companionship, and the opportunity to create a unique family structure. Yet she does not shy away from highlighting the significant challenges that accompany this lifestyle, a candid perspective that many fans appreciate, especially given the often sensationalized portrayals of the Brown family on television. While Janelle Brown offers a candid, sometimes skeptical view of polygamy, her perspective cannot be fully understood without considering the position of her husband, Kody Brown, and the broader dynamics within the family. Kody, the patriarch of the Brown family, has been a central figure in public debates about polygamy since the family rose to fame on TLC's Sister Wives. Unlike Janelle, who approaches polygamy with pragmatism and cautious reflection, Kody often speaks about it with a mix of idealism and spiritual conviction. Understanding the tension and occasional harmony between these viewpoints is key to grasping why Janelle believes legal polygamy could deter men. Kody Brown's vision of polygamy. Kody Brown has long articulated a vision of polygamy rooted in love, companionship, and religious principles. He presents himself as a man striving to maintain harmony among his wives, while embracing the emotional and spiritual benefits of plural marriage. In interviews and show segments, Kody often emphasizes the family unity, shared goals, and emotional support that multiple wives can provide. He frames polygamy not as a power play or convenience, but as a complex relationship system that, when managed properly, offers unique rewards. However, Kody's perspective frequently clashes with reality. While he advocates for legal and social recognition of polygamy, the day-to-day responsibilities of maintaining multiple households, attending to the emotional needs of each spouse, and managing conflicts often fall unevenly across family members. Janelle's observation that legal recognition could turn men off touches on this very disconnect. In her view, men like Kody may underestimate the practical and emotional labor required to sustain multiple marriages, especially when the informal flexibility of private arrangements is replaced by legal obligations and societal scrutiny. The co-wives' perspective. Janelle is not alone in her nuanced view of polygamy. Her co-wives Mary, Christine, and Robin each have their own take on what plural marriage entails, often reflecting different balances of idealism, pragmatism, and personal experience. Mary Brown has historically expressed dissatisfaction with aspects of the polygamous arrangement, particularly in relation to her relationship with Kody. She has candidly discussed feelings of neglect and frustration, highlighting the strain that arises when one spouse's attention and energy are divided among multiple partners. Legal recognition, she might argue, would formalize these inequalities, making them harder to navigate or ignore. Christine Brown often presents a disciplined, structured approach to polygamy, emphasizing commitment and faithfulness. Yet even Christine has admitted that the day-to-day logistics, especially when combined with legal pressures, can create tension. From coordinating schedules to managing family finances, the realities of plural marriage are far from the romanticized image often portrayed on television. Robin Brown, the youngest and most publicly adaptive of the wives, has frequently taken on the role of mediator and organizer, managing the practicalities that keep the Brown household functioning. Robin's experiences underscore a critical point: polygamy requires constant negotiation and effort, which legal recognition would only intensify, potentially discouraging men who are unprepared for these obligations. Taken together, the wives' experiences validate Janelle's assertion that legal polygamy might not be as appealing as some imagine. The fantasy of multiple spouse. Polygamy has long occupied a controversial space in American culture, evoking both fascination and moral debate. The practice, often associated with religious communities, has historically been viewed through a lens of suspicion, legal restriction, and societal judgment. The Browns, brought into the national spotlight through TLC's Sister Wives, offer a living case study of the realities of polygamous life. Janelle Brown's candid assertion that legalizing polygamy could turn men off is not only informed by her personal experiences, but also by a deep awareness of how American society perceives plural marriage. Brief history of polygamy in America. Polygamy in the United States has roots that stretch back to early religious movements, most notably within the Latter-day Saint Mormon community in the 19th century. Pioneering members of the church practiced plural marriage as part of their spiritual beliefs, leading to significant controversy, persecution, and eventual legal challenges. By 1890, the LDS Church officially renounced polygamy under pressure from federal law, but the practice persisted in certain fundamentalist sects that maintained the tradition clandestinely over the decades. Polygamy remained largely underground, largely confined to isolated religious communities. The broader American public often framed it as a moral aberration, a symbol of patriarchal control, or even a threat to social order. Laws banning bigamy and polygamous unions became widespread, reflecting both legal concerns and societal norms that prioritized monogamous marriage as the cornerstone of family life. Modern polygamy and legal challenges today. Polygamy occupies a gray area in American law. While legally prohibited, enforcement varies and informal polygamous arrangements persist, particularly in rural communities and among religious sects. Some advocates argue for legal recognition, citing religious freedom, personal choice, and family autonomy as key reasons to reconsider current laws. Critics, however, warn that legalization could exacerbate gender inequality, economic disparities, and the potential for exploitation. Janelle Brown's comments intersect with this debate in a compelling way. By suggesting that legal recognition might discourage men, she implicitly critiques the assumption that polygamy is universally appealing. Her lived experience suggests that formal legal obligations along with social scrutiny and emotional responsibilities could transform polygamy from a perceived privilege into a complex, high-stakes commitment. The Browns as cultural ambassador. Brown family, through sister wives, has become an inadvertent ambassador for modern polygamy. Viewers across the country watch as Janelle, Kody, Mary, Christine, and Robin navigate the joys and challenges of plural marriage. Their lives provide an inside look at the practical realities that are often overlooked in discussions about legalization, household management, coordinating schedules, childcare, and financial responsibilities across multiple households, conflict resolution, mediating tensions and disagreements among co-wives, and addressing differing expectations from each spouse, public scrutiny, managing their private lives in the public eye, which amplifies every disagreement, triumph, or misstep. Emotional labor, providing consistent support and attention to each spouse, while maintaining personal well-being. Through this lens, it becomes clear why Janelle believes men might be deterred by legal recognition. The Browns' reality demonstrates that polygamy is not a simple matter of desire. It is a demanding lifestyle that requires constant negotiation, commitment, and adaptability. The gender debate: who benefits, who bears the burden? A recurring theme in discussions about polygamy is gender dynamics. Critics often argue that polygamy inherently benefits men, while placing disproportionate burdens on women. Janelle's perspective complicates this narrative. She highlights that men, too, face significant pressures from managing multiple households to addressing co-wife disputes and meeting legal obligations. While women in polygamous marriages certainly encounter challenges, Janelle emphasizes that legal recognition would formalize expectations for men, potentially discouraging those who might otherwise consider plural marriage. This viewpoint forces a reevaluation of commonly held assumptions. Legalization is often imagined as a way to legitimize polygamy for men, making it more socially acceptable and legally protected. Janelle challenges this idea by pointing out the practical realities and obligations that would accompany legal status, realities that could make polygamy seem less attractive, rather than more. Social stigma and public perception of it. Beyond legal and practical considerations, polygamy remains socially stigmatized in the United States. Public perception, shaped by history, media portrayals, and religious norms, often frames plural marriage as morally suspect or socially unconventional. The Browns, by living openly as a polygamous family, have brought this debate into mainstream culture, exposing the tensions between personal choice and societal expectation. Janelle's assertion reflects an acute awareness of this stigma. Legal recognition might invite more scrutiny from the public, media, and legal authorities, further complicating life for men who might otherwise be drawn to polygamy. For her, the fantasy of multiple wives does not outweigh the practical, emotional, and social challenges that legalization would entail. Polygamy, media, and reality television plays a pivotal role in shaping how polygamy is perceived. Shows like Sister Wives dramatize family dynamics for entertainment, often highlighting conflict, rivalry, and emotional tension. While this provides an inside look at polygamous life, it can also skew public perception, emphasizing drama over day-to-day realities. Janelle's perspective stands out because it cuts through the spectacle. She does not shy away from discussing boring, exhausting, or mundane aspects of polygamy logistics, emotional labor, and constant negotiation elements often overlooked in media portrayals. By doing so, she reinforces her argument that legal recognition might reveal realities that turn men away, rather than attract them. Polygamy as a cultural experiment. Brown's family experience can be viewed as a microcosm of what might happen if polygamy were legalized in the U.S. Their successes, struggles, and conflicts illustrate both the potential benefits and inherent challenges of plural marriage. Janelle's warning is clear: polygamy is not merely a matter of desire or opportunity. It is a complex, demanding lifestyle that requires emotional intelligence, organizational skill, and long-term commitment. Her insights invite a broader reflection. If men and women truly understood the day-to-day realities of polygamous life, would legalization increase participation, or would it serve as a deterrent? Janelle's answer, informed by decades of experience, suggests the latter. Janelle Brown's assertion that legalizing polygamy could turn men off is not just a passing comment. It is grounded in a deep understanding of the practical realities and human costs of plural marriage. Polygamy, while often romanticized in media or popular imagination, carries profound psychological, financial, and emotional implications that affect every member of a family. To understand why Janelle believes legal recognition could be a deterrent, it's important to examine these dimensions in detail. Psychological impacts on men. For men in polygamous relationships, the emotional and mental burdens are substantial. Even for a patriarch like Kody Brown, who presents himself as capable and idealistic, the stress of managing multiple marriages is significant. Some key psychological challenges include: 1. Decision fatigue. Men must constantly make choices that affect multiple households, children, and spouses. From financial decisions to scheduling family events, this can create persistent mental strain. 2. Conflict mediation. Co-wife disagreements require careful navigation. Men often find themselves acting as mediators, balancing fairness with emotional intelligence. Poorly handled conflicts can lead to stress, guilt, and even resentment. 3. Social scrutiny. Public perception adds another layer of pressure. In the case of the Browns, reality TV amplifies every choice and misstep, exposing men to criticism and judgment from a nationwide audience. For relationship satisfaction, maintaining deep, meaningful connections with multiple partners simultaneously is emotionally taxing. Men must divide attention and affection, often feeling stretched thin and struggling to meet expectations. Janelle's insight is that formal legal recognition could intensify these pressures, introducing new obligations, accountability, and potential conflict resolution scenarios that would test even the most capable individuals. Emotional and psychological impacts on women. While men face challenges, women in polygamous marriages encounter their own unique set of psychological and emotional burdens. Janelle, with decades of firsthand experience, has witnessed these effects firsthand. Key considerations include: 1. Competition and jealousy. Co-wife relationships are complex, often oscillating between camaraderie and rivalry. Even with clear communication, feelings of jealousy, neglect, or insecurity can arise. 2. Unequal attention. Each spouse's time and energy are finite. Women may struggle with perceived or real inequalities in attention, affection, and involvement from their shared partner. 3. Social judgment. Polygamous women are often subject to moral scrutiny, stereotypes, and public assumptions, which can impact self-esteem and social standing. For emotional labor, women frequently take on the majority of household and emotional work, including managing children, coordinating family. Polygamy has always been a flashpoint in American cultural and ethical debates. It challenges conventional ideas of marriage, gender roles, and family structure. The Browns, as one of the most visible polygamous families in the United States, provide a unique lens through which these debates can be examined. Janelle Brown's assertion that legal polygamy might turn men off adds a thought-provoking dimension, suggesting that societal assumptions about polygamy may overlook the practical, emotional, and ethical realities of plural marriage. Cultural tensions, tradition versus modernity. One of the core cultural debates surrounding polygamy is the tension between tradition and modernity. Historically, polygamy was often linked to religious beliefs or cultural practices, particularly among groups such as the early Latter-day Saints or certain fundamentalist sects. For these communities, plural marriage was framed as a spiritual or moral imperative. However, In contemporary society, traditional polygamous practices clash with modern social norms, including gender equality, individual autonomy, and legally recognized monogamy. The Browns, while adapting some traditional values to contemporary life, illustrate how polygamy must evolve to survive in modern society. Janelle's perspective highlights this tension. The idealized notion of multiple marriages may appeal in theory, but when confronted with modern legal, financial, and emotional demands, it becomes significantly more complex. Ethical considerations, consent, equality, and autonomy. Polygamy also raises ethical questions that go beyond legality. Critics often cite concerns about consent, equality, and the potential for coercion. While the Browns' relationships are largely consensual and voluntary, broader legalization would inevitably encounter cases where imbalance or abuse could occur. Janelle's insights intersect with these ethical debates. She emphasizes that the success of polygamy relies heavily on mutual understanding, clear communication, and equitable treatment. Legal recognition, while potentially protective in some cases, could also expose ethical vulnerabilities, especially if men or women enter plural marriages without full comprehension of the emotional or practical commitments required. The social debate. Polygamy in the public eye. Public opinion on polygamy remains deeply divided. Some argue for legalization based on principles of personal freedom and religious liberty, claiming that adults should be allowed to define their family structures as they see fit. Others oppose it, citing potential harms to women and children, the risk of exploitation, and the reinforcement of patriarchal hierarchies. Janelle's viewpoint offers a nuanced addition to this debate by suggesting that legal recognition might discourage men. She implicitly critiques both sides of the argument. It is not simply a matter of freedom or oppression, but of practical feasibility. Polygamy, she argues, is not inherently easy or desirable, and legal status would magnify its challenges rather than reduce them. Media and public perception. Reality television, documentaries, and social media have shaped public perception of polygamy in powerful ways. The Browns' family story is often dramatized for entertainment, highlighting conflicts, jealousy, and emotional tension. While this provides an inside look, it also skews perceptions, sometimes making polygamy appear either glamorous or scandalous rather than realistic. Janelle's perspective serves as a corrective to these portrayals. She emphasizes the day-to-day realities, the emotional labor, financial responsibilities, and constant negotiation required to maintain multiple marriages. Legal recognition, she suggests, would remove the flexibility of fiction, exposing these challenges more directly and potentially discouraging participation. Broader societal implications. Question of legalizing polygamy extends beyond individual families to society at large. Legal recognition would require adjustments in family law. Courts would need to navigate custody disputes, divorce settlements, and inheritance claims involving multiple spouses. Social services, welfare, healthcare, and taxation systems would have to accommodate more complex household structures. Cultural norms, the definition of marriage and family in mainstream culture could shift, challenging deeply ingrained assumptions about monogamy. Janelle's insight reminds society that polygamy is not a simple alternative to monogamy. It is a complex social experiment with far-reaching consequences. Legalization would highlight these complexities, potentially making men and women more cautious rather than eager to participate. Lessons from the Browns. Brown family experience offers several lessons for both supporters and critics of polygamy. Transparency and communication are key. Successful plural marriages require openness and honesty among all parties. Emotional labor cannot be ignored. Maintaining multiple relationships demands significant emotional energy, negotiation, and patience. Legalization magnifies responsibility. Formal recognition introduces financial, social, and legal pressures that many men and women may not anticipate. Fantasy versus reality. Media portrayals often emphasize drama or romance, but the day-to-day reality of polygamy is far more challenging. Janelle Brown's statement encapsulates these lessons. She is neither anti-polygamy nor dismissive of its potential joys. Rather, she emphasizes realism over idealism, urging a careful consideration of what plural marriage truly entails. Janelle Brown's assertion that legalizing polygamy could turn men off serves as a springboard for examining the future of plural marriage in the United States. Beyond the Browns' personal experiences, her perspective invites reflection on societal trends, potential legal developments, and the lessons that families, both polygamous and monogamous, can draw from this unconventional lifestyle. Speculative scenarios for legal polygamy. If polygamy were to become legally recognized in the United States, several potential scenarios could emerge. 1. Selective adoption by wealthier men. Legal polygamy would likely favor men with substantial financial resources who can manage multiple households, children, and legal responsibilities. This could create an economic divide, where polygamy becomes a privilege accessible primarily to the wealthy, potentially exacerbating social inequality. 2. Shift in gender dynamics. Legal recognition could empower women in some respects, providing formal rights to property, inheritance, and divorce settlements. However, it could also amplify the emotional and logistical challenges of co-wife relationships. Men may find themselves under heightened scrutiny, balancing fairness and emotional attention across multiple households. Janelle's observation suggests that these pressures might dissuade many men who initially viewed polygamy as a low-risk or advantageous lifestyle. 3. Impact on family structure. Polyamorous households may become more standardized and regulated, creating formal expectations around childcare, household duties, and interpersonal responsibilities. While this could promote fairness, it might also increase stress and reduce the flexibility that informal arrangements currently allow. For public perception and media coverage. Increased visibility through legal recognition could shift public perception, making polygamy more mainstream. Yet, media scrutiny might intensify, turning previously private family disputes into public spectacles. For high-profile families like the Browns, this could exacerbate challenges rather than simplify them. Lessons for American families. Even for families that do not practice polygamy, the Browns' experience and Janelle's insights offer valuable lessons. Communication is essential. Managing relationships, whether monogamous or polygamous, requires transparent, ongoing dialogue. Conflicts left unresolved can escalate quickly and harm family cohesion. Equity and emotional labor matter. Successful families, regardless of structure, rely on fairness in distributing responsibilities and emotional support. Polygamous households highlight the consequences of neglecting this balance. Fantasy versus reality. Media often glamorizes relationships, but the lived experience can be far more demanding. Awareness of practical realities, time management, finances, and emotional care prepares families for long-term stability. Legal awareness is crucial. Understanding the legal implications of family arrangements, property rights, custody, inheritance is essential to prevent disputes and ensure security for all members. Polygamy as a social experiment. Brown's family life can be viewed as a social experiment, offering insights into the dynamics of plural marriage in contemporary society. Their successes, failures, and adaptations provide a blueprint for understanding how polygamy functions in practice. Janelle's perspective underscores the importance of practical realism. Polygamy is not inherently easier or more desirable than monogamy. It requires constant attention, negotiation, and commitment, which legal recognition would only intensify. The role of media and reality television. Reality television has played a pivotal role in shaping public perception of polygamy. Sister Wives dramatizes family life, highlighting conflict, emotional tension, and relationship milestones. While this creates engaging television, it can also distort the perception of polygamy, emphasizing excitement or romance over the mundane realities of daily life. Janelle's comments remind viewers that the day-to-day management of multiple marriages is challenging. The Browns' experiences offer a rare glimpse behind the scenes, revealing the labor, negotiation, and compromise required to sustain plural marriages successfully. Legal recognition would bring these hidden complexities into the public sphere, potentially deter